In this video of the Historic Ordnance series, we're going to look at primarily the British L9A1 low metallic bar mine. This is an anti-vehicular mine. When a tank drives over the top of it, it has just enough explosive in it to break a section of the track to disable it. If a vehicle drives over the top, it has sufficient explosive in it to take out the tire, and depending on the height and construction of the vehicle and how it drives over this, it should potentially damage the underside of the engine and transmission when it goes off. Now, this mine entered service in 1969, and it was in service with the British Army until 2010. Reportedly 2010, they were removed from frontline service, and the British government reports they destroyed almost all of them and kept just a few dozen for training and evaluation of new equipment. However, this mine is appearing on the battlefields in Ukraine in the hands of Ukrainian sappers in large numbers. So once again, we have a NATO nation reporting that they destroyed existing stockpiles of mines, only kept a few behind for training and evaluation, but the mine is once again appearing in large numbers on the battlefield. This has caused some of the activists in Britain to get seriously outraged with the British government, wanting to know what's going on. You told us you destroyed existing stockpiles, and here they are on the battlefield. Now, I will put in the description and in the comments a link to a video that was made by a Ukrainian sapper showing how to teach their people how to use them. And that's my proof that they are on the Ukrainian battlefield. Now, this mine was one of 9 in the series. It went from the L9 through to the L9A8. The most common version that has been seen numbers-wise is the L9A1, and that is what was sent to Ukraine by the British government. Now, this mine is in service with, or has been in service with, Britain, Kuwait, and Iraq. Captured a large number of them from the Kuwaitis before the first Gulf War, and they employed them. Denmark, and their version, they refer to it as the M75. India, and the version that they produce is known as the AT3A. France, Germany, and Ukraine. And because it is in service with Ukraine, it's a guarantee a lot of these have ended up on the international arms black market. So this is a mine you should be aware of. It is extremely easy to identify because it looks like a giant piece about 4 foot length of 2x4. Now, some of the technicals on this: length is 47 inches, width is 4 1/3 inches, the height is 3 1/4 inches. The mine is made out of plastic and rubber. It came in OD green and brown in colors. The weight of the mine is 24 pounds, of which 19 pounds is the explosive filler, and the explosive filler was a mix of TNT and RDX. This mine has an integral fuse. It's already fused by the factory before it was shipped out, so that all the sapper had to do was arm it and emplace it. Now, the integral fuse is primarily pressure, but they did make a tilt rod fuse, and they also made a magnetic and seismically activated fuse. But pressure is the primary. That's what each mine is built as. And it takes a minimum of 310 pounds of pressure on the pressure strip on top to set the mine off. Now, how the fuse on this operates. We're first going to start with the very top here, the pressure strip. In the very center of it here is a rubber hose. That hose is filled with a silicone-based fluid. On either side of it is a foam rubber to basically stabilize it, keep it in position. Now, after the fuse is armed on the control panel here, the vehicle travels over the top, forces the silicone-based fluid down into the fuse down here, and you have hydraulic action where it forces the primer and the striker together to set the fuse off. That's the simplified way of describing it. Now, there are no secondary fuse wells for this mine or on this mine for an anti-handling device. However, the secondary fuse that can be added, it looks like it's the magnetic and seismic fuse. That additional fuse, which can be put on the mine, acts as an anti-handling device. So if you ever come across these mines, the only ones you can handle look like this. If you come across a mine that looks like this, like there's a small box on the end of it, either end, that has a secondary fuse attached to it, and it is very possible that fuse is an anti-handling device, so then destroy that mine in place. Do not attempt a removal. Now, installation on, the operating temperature for this mine, because it is hydraulically operated, it looks like -4 degrees to a max of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. But I have my suspicions that that -4 is kind of high. It probably can go lower than that because the fluid is silicone based, it's not water based. Now, installation on this is incredibly simple, and I will put a link to the video from the Ukrainian sappers showing how to do it. And this photo is actually from that video. Right here, you have the control panel. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to go through, inspect the mine for damage. Make sure there's no leaking fluid from the top here, from your pressure plate, so to speak. Because if it's leaking fluid, if a vehicle drives over the top, you're more likely going to have that fluid squirting out of that damaged part of the hose in there. It may not get enough pressure down inside the fuse to set it off. So inspect your mine, make sure it's operational, make sure there's no damage to the control panel here, and it has the safety pin here. Now, this mine can be either hand emplaced or it can be laid by a mine layer. The arming procedure is the exact same. So if we go through, we're going to prep the area. If we can lay it, surface lay it on the ground, hide it in the grass, or we can bury it. If we bury it in the ground, go about 2 to 3 inches max in depth over the top of the pressure plate. If you have too much over the top, that can act as a cushion. But we've now prepped the location where it's going, or we're prepping it to send it down the chute of the mine layer. Take the mine, remove the tape here, which holds the lanyard connected to the safety pin. Grab the lanyard on the safety pin, pull it straight up and out, and that removes the safety pin from in here, unlocking the cocking lever. Once that's removed, you will change this cocking lever from S safe 90 degrees clockwise to A armed. The mine is now armed. If you're burying it, you then go through, camouflage the mine. If it's going to go down the mine laying chute, pass it to the person who's going to send it down the chute, and he can put it down there and it'll get laid out by the mine layer. Now, I did not find the instructions for removal, but I did not find any information that this mine cannot be neutralized. So the procedure for disarming this is a guess, but this is most likely how it would work. If the mine is emplaced, it is buried, you're going to go through, check around the area for any secondary mines and booby traps that protect this mine. Reportedly, the British did have in the battle drill to plant anti-personnel mines around these when they were emplaced by hand. In particular, they used something that it said it was like the Ranger anti-personnel mine. Maybe I'll do a video on that one if I find enough info. But as you come across those secondary protective mines, take care of them. After you're done with that, locate the mine itself. It will be very hard to locate because it is very low metallic. The only metal that is in it is inside the fuse. But you locate the mine. You'll uncover the mine. You're then going to check it for anti-handling devices. So if you see any of these little boxes on the top here, on either end, consider that an anti-handling device. Do not continue on with disarming. Destroy the mine in place. You do not see anything on top, check underneath. Make sure there is no pressure release device that is underneath the mine. If nothing is located, you will then go to the cocking lever here, flip it from A armed 90 degrees counterclockwise to S safe, and in theory, you should be able to put the safety pin back inside the channel here to lock the cocking lever in safe in that position. Then turn in the mine to the mine dump for either disposal or reuse. Now, because this can be laid out by a mine layer, these mines can be moved while they are armed. So if you're just going to destroy them, if you can't get it from armed into safe, carefully pull this out of its position using a rope. Pull it out of there. If it doesn't go off, give it about 5 minutes or so. Go up there, grab the mine, pick it up, take it over to the disposal location. And then once you have all the ordnance there that you're going to destroy in that chute, go through, prep your charges, and blow them all up. Now, I did come across some interesting information that it looks like a lot of the stated mines that the British Army kept that they didn't destroy, a lot of those were sent to Afghanistan, and the troops in Afghanistan didn't use them as anti-tank mines. They actually used them as breaching charges, putting these up against fences, up against walls, taping them up there, bracing them up there, and then setting them off with regular explosive, command detonated or timed, to punch a hole through the wall or to blow open a door to get inside of compounds. So there you go. A mine that officially is not in service. However, it is appearing on the battlefields in Ukraine and reportedly in large numbers. So that is the biggest reason why I'm doing a video on this one, so that you are aware of it. And you are aware that it doesn't have an anti-handling device. But if you see any of these little fuse boxes or little electronics boxes on top of the mine, figure that is an anti-handling device and destroy the mine in place. So there you go, the British L9A1 low metallic Barmine. Now, for all my engineer brothers and the Patriot and militia movements, always remember, essay ons.